Hey dudes, B.JR here from B.JR's Movie Cave, hanging out in the cave. I just got back from seeing The Conjuring, the new James Wan film that everybody's raving about. You guys knew I would eventually weigh in my little feelings on the matter. Mm, good clean water. Yeah, a little post-viewing thoughts video. I'm going to keep it short and sweet, guys. Try to stay away from too many spoilers because I want you guys to get out there and enjoy this one. Overall, James Wan, in a nutshell, has knocked it out of the park again. This guy has created another great horror film that you guys really need to get out to the theaters. I hate to sound like I'm jumping on the bandwagon. I know a lot of folks in the movie reviewing community have said about the same thing, but I gotta say, I'm in there with them. You gotta see this one in a theater if possible, guys, because it's just a great viewing experience in the theater that I think is going to lose a little bit when it gets to home video unless you got a really tuned out acoustic sound system to accompany your viewing experience. Overall, a great film. It kind of is based on true events or true life events of the Warren couple that did the Warren reports, who would go on to investigate. Probably their most famous investigation of ghosts or hauntings or possession is the Amityville Horror source material, which had its own foray into movies later as well, in a book. This one takes place in one of their earlier ventures, I think right before the Amityville Horror investigation in Rhode Island. This one takes place in, where does it take place? Is it Connecticut or somewhere like that? See, guys, I've only seen it one time, and I was just like on the edge of my seat the whole time. Uh, Check out the background. Just type in parent family investigation by the Warrens or something like that, and you'll get a lot of YouTube videos on that and fill you in on the source material. Essentially, that's what it's about. It's a true life recollection or kind of Hollywood tweaking to a horror movie style by James Wan. It covers the investigation by the Warrens into the Perrin family ghost infestation and or possession. I don't want to ruin too much of the film for you. That is, in a nutshell, is the story of the film. What I can say you're going to come away from as far as a great viewing experience is that the camera work in this film is awesome. Plus the setting. I think it was parts or maybe most of it was filmed in North Carolina. I think it was filmed down in Wilmington. Don't quote me on that. I think it was. I noticed a lot of forestry and stuff like that. It looked really familiar to me. I'm, of course, a North Kakalaki resident, so born and raised, so I can kind of pick up on some terrain every once in a while. The film overall looks like it was made in the 70s. They did an excellent job of set dressing in this movie. I mean, from everything from radios used in the movie to ghost hunting equipment, it's all very low-tech recording equipment, things like that. Just there's all kinds of great, just old school wallpaper, and the house that they got for this movie is just it looks like it's infested by ghosts, even if it's not. Man, they really picked a great, just a great haunted looking location, right by the water. It's just eerie looking at it. Good sets in this movie, or set design, I should say. Special effects were. There's little to no gore in the movie. There's no uses of profanity in the movie to my knowledge or to my recollection. Mind you, I've only seen it one time at the movies, of course. Um, it got an R rating, and I know it's been kind of a sub thing that everybody's been talking about. This movie should have been rated PG-13. There's only one scene in the movie where I could see that it could possibly have gotten them an R. I think it has to do with the violence that's in the movie. There's not a whole lot of hand-to-hand combat or anything like that in the movie, or blood gushing here and there. There are some parts with blood in it, but it's very minimal. And there's minimal use of CGI in the movie, but it's not. You're not going to really. It's not going to take away from the overall viewing experience, in my opinion. It's a decent ride to take. It's one of those where he starts out slow in the movie, it starts building, and then all hell breaks loose, and then it's just kind of like they call the Warrens in. It just systematically gets worse and worse and worse until it culminates to the whole final sequence in the movie. The final sequence in the movie, I couldn't take my eyes off of it for a second. I was just like tuned in the whole time. I was like, come on, come on. You're really vested that at that point in the characters in the movie. That's another thing I think this movie does really well, is that it takes time to build characters. not a whole lot, but it builds. It makes you care about not only the family that's being tormented by these ghosts or whatnot in the movie, but it also makes you care about Ed Warren and his wife that are the investigators. It makes you care about the characters. So when bad things starts happening from like midway on in the movie, you're like really rooting for them. Like, come on, don't go there, don't go in that room, whatever. It was so funny. I had this nice older lady that was sitting in front of me in the row in front of me, directly in front. She was one of those very vocal types, and I just was laughing at her as much as I was enjoying the movie because she was like, "No, don't go in there. Don't do that. Oh, don't do that. Don't go in there. Oh, don't look over there." She wasn't taken away from the viewing experience, mind you. She was just a sweet old lady, and it was just funny to be sitting behind her during the overall experience. Gotta say, top notch. It was tightly edited in the movie. At no time did I feel bored of the subject matter. I have kind of lost touch with the whole ghost hunting thing, but the way they hand this isn't really a full-on ghost hunting movie. It is and it isn't. It's just kind of like a more historic recollection, piece of history kind of movie. Like I said before, I can't say it enough. Excellent set dressing in the movie. It really looks like a '70s movie. Anything from the way the titles come up at the first of the movie, the way that they close the movie, so forth. There's even an evil doll in the movie to some degree, which James Wan tends to put in just about any one of his movies at some part or another. James Wan, just keep an eye out for his future projects, even if he does a Fast and Furious movie, because even John Carpenter and George Romero, all these horror greats, even though they may have gotten pigeonholed into horror eventually, they all took different ventures into different into drama, action, and it's good to diversify because who knows, he might be the next Steven Spielberg that can do no wrong, one of those kind of filmmakers, but probably will, probably not, but at least he's making good horror movies that can pave the way for other horror movies to come later. I hear tell through the grapevine that The Conjuring 2 has already been greenlit. And I'm guessing by the way they ended this one, not to give too much away, they're probably going to move into the Amityville horror subject matter thereafter. They kind of lead you to believe that. They don't really come out and say it at the end of the movie, but there's kind of like a little hint dropped at the end of the movie. But and also Insidious 2 by James Wan is coming up later this year. I think around September time frame. That's going to be very interesting. This one wasn't quite as nerve wracking as Insidious was. I remember last year or the year before last when Insidious came out. I didn't know what to expect, and I came out of there just shaking and checking behind the shower curtain when I came home. Check my old reviews if you want to see my true. Because I did the review just like I'm doing today. Just I came straight home from the movies and told you my thoughts on the film. I was just a ball of nerves when I came home from that movie. This movie, not so much. It was just a great ghost story with a little bit of exorcism worked in there, high tension. This guy, James Wan, must have a master's degree in how to of misdirection, a master's degree of misdirection, because it gets you looking over here and something you think is going to happen over here, but then it actually happens over here, then it happens up here, down here. You never know where it's going to happen. Plus, the Leonetti cinematography in the movie lends itself to that too. So, the guy's doing good stuff, guys. I say get out and support this one because it can only greenlight other films in or around that subgenre of ghosts and or just in horror in general. It might get interest in the big franchises again. Like I hear tell there's supposed to be another Friday the 13th in the works. Who knows at this point? But yeah, guys, I say get out there and watch it. It's already made like close to 50 million, I think, if not a little bit more. So I'd say support it, if anything, for horror in general. Take care, guys. This has been your brief around the world overview of The Conjuring. B.JR gives it a salute. I say it's a good all-around ghost horror movie, and I say it's a decent, not run of the mill. It's not a remake. So, like I say, if you want to see something kind of fresh, but just well made, in my opinion, go check out The Conjuring. Rock on. I'll catch you next time. Bye.